official. Call this meeting to order. So as I near the end of my term as president of the board, and in fact, my 3-year term as a board member, hello, John McComas, welcome back. I have had occasion to review what we've accomplished over the past 3 years. We often ignore the forest for the trees, but in this instance, it's instructive to see the trees as each of the small steps that we as a board and as an association have taken, and how far we have progressed. Yeah, there have been disappointments, but we have accomplished a lot. I'll not take the time to describe those this afternoon, but I will do so in the annual State of the Association address on Wednesday morning, February 14th at the Breakfast Club meeting. I hope you can all join us that day. As some of you know, I'm not very good in the morning. So for me to make a cogent presentation at 7:30 in the morning, really going to be a stretch, but I'm going to do the best I can. And actually, this afternoon's meeting will be brief, and in fact, it's the only one I can remember in which there will be no AECs to consider. And not that we're not spending money on projects, it's just that we have none this month, and we will have some next month as we use the association's resources to maintain our facilities. I'd also encourage each of you to attend our town hall meeting on February 13th here in the ballroom to further discuss our ballot initiatives for the current election. Now I'd like to recognize any of the candidates for election to the board who are present here today. I know there are some, maybe all. And so, Judge Sprinkle, would you do the honors again?
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, I think we've got all the candidates here. Dick Brozick, would you please stand? Steve Karsten. I'm sorry, Scott Karsten. Caught me with a piece of candy in my mouth. Crystal David. Ron Liddell. And Joel Nyman.
Thank you, and thank you, candidates, for stepping up and being willing to serve on this board. It's a rewarding experience, and if you forgive me, since this is a brief meeting, I will take a moment. When I tell people I serve on the board of directors of my homeowners association, and actually now I have the privilege of serving as president this year, they look at me like I'm crazy and say, "Oh, how could you do that? Are you a masochist?" And the fact is that one of my disappointments is that we can't get more candidates to run for the board. This is a rewarding activity, and as each of the candidates that are elected to the board will soon find out, the board comes together and conducts the business of the organization and has the privilege of working with a wonderful management team, each of whom is excellent in what they do, but each of them becomes better by their cooperation with the other members of the management team. So Michael Bartholomew has put together and has maintained a group of professionals that are managing our facility in an excellent way. So while there are areas of improvement at the board level and certainly at the management level, we have a well-run organization, and so I would have that conversation with anybody that would challenge that. This is a wonderful place to live. It's a good opportunity to serve, and I would encourage each of you to reconsider if you think it's not a good thing to do. It is. And so I just look around this room and look at this board and say that these are good people to work with, and I know you'll have the same experience that I have. I'd also like to swerve from the text and ask another person to stand. While we lost a member of our family about a month ago, Darrell Davis passed away. We have been able to successfully conclude our search for a replacement. And now Judith Bandy is going to stand up, and you may not be able to see her, but I promise you she is standing. And she has stepped right in, and she will be in charge of the columns. That will be the first time we'll see the evidence of her work. And I'd like to also acknowledge Lisa Starkweather and Kevin. I don't see those two here, who have also stepped up and are publishing the columns this month and March 1st. So Judith's first issue will be the April issue. Did I take that away from you? Were you going to announce that? Okay, I'm sorry. I said, like I've been telling people, I've been president for 11 months, and I'm only now just learning how to do it. So if I had another year at this, then I'd really take over the microphone, but I won't do that. So with that, I'd like to move on to the next item of our agenda. And the first item would be, for approval, would be approval of the minutes of the January 4th meeting. And do I have a motion? Mr. Secretary, where are you?
Did you forget open session?
Oh, right. Yes, I did. Do we? Because I haven't gotten any cards. Do we have any? Anyone that wishes to speak? Oh, I'm sorry, Lynette, please. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would just like to say that after you had your election of the board president Monday, I got word from Bev that she had been elected president for the upcoming year. And I was very excited for the board and pleased that, because after serving with her 2 years, I knew she would do an excellent job. I'm not sure exactly what's happened this week, but I just wanted to register my disappointment that the events have turned and she's not going to serve as our president. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. We will make an announcement when it becomes clear. Any other? Yes, Bruce, go ahead.
My name is Bruce Lockwood, and not to make this a parade of past presidents, but I only have one thing to say. Thank you, Bob. It's a tough job. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, now, Dick? Okay. So we have the minutes of the January 4th meeting. Do we have a motion?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the January 4th meeting.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the January 4th meeting. Any corrections, comments, changes? Hearing none. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Minutes are approved. And now we'll move to the financials and the treasurer's report. Mr. Kite.
Thank you, Mr. President. All right, these are financials as of December 2017. An overall summary: the general fund operations in December spent $643,000. I'm sorry, took in $643,000, spent $564,000 for a net surplus of $79,000. Total revenue year to date, we took in $1.2 million and spent $883,000, so we didn't spend everything we took in on that one. This is actual budget and previous year. Across the top row, we have total revenues for December. We already talked about that. We had budgeted $600,000, so we brought in a little bit extra. A lot of that is coming from our new members. It was a banner year for building new houses, and it was also quite a few houses turned over. So we get that fee when somebody is new to the membership and joins. So that's part of why those numbers are inflated. Previous year was $580 and a difference of $62,000. We can run across and see cost of sales. They're increasing because of a larger operation. And again, we came out slightly better of $15,000. I'm sorry, slightly worse. Our gross was $531,000, budgeted $496, variance of $35,000. The previous year, the number was in at $484, so our gross was $47,000 ahead of last year. Then we get down to cost of labor, taxes, and benefits, and in December it was $309, budget of $318, previous year $309, and a very small difference. Other expenses, a little bit different. We had $143,000 in December, $187 for a budget, previous year $157. Total cost of operations $452 versus a budget of $505, and a variance of $52,000. Previous year $466, and a difference of $13,000. Okay, you run that up for the year, and our total revenue for the year, $1.2 million versus a budget of $1.14, a difference of $100,000. Cost of sales, $192,000 versus a budget of $168, a variance of $23. Previous year, $165, and again, a variance of $26,000. So we grossed that, $1 million versus a $970,000 budget. Previous year, $930, and a difference of $74,000. I'm going to skip over the year cost and other expenses, and we'll get down to net surplus and deficit. We had a year-to-date of $120,000 ahead. We were budgeted at $12,000 loss, so we were ahead on that overall thing after you roll it up of $132,000. Previous year, we were ahead $22,000, so we're up by $98 versus last year. This is our cash, and again, keep in mind it's a snapshot. As of the end of December, operating revenues, $643, cost of goods sold, we've already looked at that, $111, a gross operating profit of $531. We take out labor of $309 and other expenses of $143, and we came out ahead for the month of $79,000. The capital reserve fund, as of the end of December, is sitting at $2.2 million. The new capital fund, this is the one from fees of new members over and above the $3,000. And that's accumulating at a few $1,000s for each new member, and we've got $92,000 in that account so far. The road and drainage fund is ending the year, end of December, at $736,000. So this is a roll-up of all the funds. General operating fund at $977, capital reserve at $2.2, the new capital at $92, and the road and drainage fund at $736 for $4 million in the bank. And this breaks it down per member per month, and we just voted in an increase of $10 for the EMS, and this shows you where the money goes from our monthly HOA fees. $90 a month goes to the general fund, $8 to the capital reserve, $19 to road and drainage. It's got that little asterisk there because right now that's scheduled to be reduced to $9 in 2024. Trash pickup is just a pass-through. We have a contract for that. We take in the money and pay it out to the contractor. And the EMS is also a pass-through. So that's the total assessment of $151. You add that up per month is $463,000, and yearly is $5.5 million. Any questions?
Looks like we're pretty healthy. A lot of money in the bank.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. I'm going to talk a little bit about the departmental numbers for December and year-to-date. And as Mr. Kite said, we had a really good December. Let's go down through the revenues and see how we did. Security revenues, $13,000, traffic tickets, and sticker revenue. Labor, we increased a little bit. We're getting some more folks out on the streets, and so we're seeing the benefits of that. And so we had a positive variance of $3,400 for our security department. Golf, $48,000 in pro shop merchandise sales in December. The balloon sale hit an all-time high, so that obviously helped the golf department. There wasn't a whole lot of golf that was played, but because of the sales in our merchandise, we were able to exceed our plan by $10,875,000. Roads and grounds, we had 5 road maintenance fees or 5 new housing starts in December, so that's a good start. You can see the labor, we're still down 1 person in roads and grounds, so that labor number is artificially low. As is the expenses, a lot of this as you're in the beginning of the year, it's timing issues, so we may have budgeted for this month, but we won't spend it until a couple months down the road. So we finished $22,450 over our budget for roads and grounds. Sports and recreation, believe it or not, we had quite a few people camping down at the campgrounds in December, so we were able to have a positive variance in sports and recreation in a cold month of $2,000, really good to see. Facilities maintenance, positive variance, $3,858. Again, a lot of that is timing. We do have 3 facilities maintenance employees now, so we're able to take better care of our facilities. The highlight of the month, food and beverage, that's the highest revenue number in history of the association for 1 month, $168,000. Special thanks go to John Thomas, all his staff, Chef Thomas, and their kitchen staff, and everybody that was a part of that. Just a phenomenal performance. Cost of goods sold is right in line, and so that is a positive number, $22,000 on a budget of $5,400 for a positive variance of $17,488. Communications, strong ad revenue, produced $20,000 in sales. All the other numbers were in line, and so we had, again, a positive variance of $1,568. Vienna is also very busy. We had 48.1% occupancy, extremely high for us. That's why you see the in revenue numbers up, and we actually had a positive variance for income of $11,000 and a positive variance to budget of $5,992. The marina, although it was cold, gas sales and our cooking revenue were down. All of our wet slips are full, and all of our storage facilities are full. So we're still getting some nice revenue from the marina. And you can see we have a $827 positive variance to plan. Spent a little bit more on member services for all the coffee and the water that you see in our meetings, small miss to plan. And we have a full stables and actually back build one of the boarders, and so that's why that revenue number is so high at $6,400. But in the end, we had a $2,600 positive variance to plan. Total revenues for our departments, again, extremely high for December, $339,000. And positive variance, all the black numbers, of course, are positive variance, and that equals $70,595 for the month of December. So a good month. Year-to-date, security, you can see the revenues there. Again, we're off to a good start. You can see all the numbers on the right there. Golf, because of the merchandise sales, golf's off to a good start. Again, Mr. Underwood, expenses, you'll see that number fluctuating as he does his agronomy practices through the year. And we had a $13,000 to the year-to-date positive variance in golf. Roads and grounds, $22,000 in revenue. Year-to-date, $41,000 positive variance after 2 months. You'll see that number as we get into the season. We started our crack seal program, so Dan and his crew, our goal is to seal every crack on every single road, and we started that process this year. Sports and recreation, as I said, campground revenues kind of carrying sports and rec. Everything else is in line. Positive variance of $4,200 for sports and rec. Facilities maintenance, so far we spent $15,000 in labor for the first 2 months, expenses at $14,000, and you can see that we made plan $3,994 above our budget. Food and beverage, because of December, we're off to a very good start. Already we're up to $286,000 in sales for food and beverage. We're getting most of our revenue from evening dining, so that's very good to see. And you can see that as a positive number for our income of $13,000 and a positive variance of $21,000 to our budget. Communications, right on plan after 2 months, positive variance of $3,256. The end year-to-date has 42% occupancy, so that's usually much higher than it has been, so that's good to see that the end is fuller than we usually have seen it, and that's a positive variance of $9,500 in our in operations. Member services right on plan year-to-date, and our stables operation, that is a positive number of $2,817 for a positive variance of $3,418. Total revenues for the first 2 months, $587,059. Positive variance is $107,623 for our departments after 2 months. Our payroll, as Mr. Kite said, December was very strong payroll, $42,000 above our budget, and more importantly, $62,000 ahead of prior year. Cost of labor, we spent $9,000 less than variance. Again, that is because we're short-staffed in a couple departments. And we spent actually $489 less than last year. Year-to-date, total revenues, $1.1 million on a budget of $1138, positive variance 57, and year-to-date we're over $100,000 more revenue than last year at this time. A cost of labor, positive variance, we spent $28,000 for the 2 months, less than planned. And our prior year number, $2,700 less than last year. This is our allocation when we allocate our G&A expenses out to each of our departments. If you look, you can see the allocation where it says indirect overhead, and then those are the cost of the amenities once we allocate the G&A out. So you can see of the $90.75 how much each of those amenities cost for the month of December. Golf and security are always our biggest expenses, along with roads and grounds. When you get that much revenue, look at food and beverage. So of that $90.75, only $1.35 was spent for food and beverage to fund the food and beverage department. In the end, and the stables were positive. So total member assessments for the month, $276,929, fees $26,861, positive variance of $79,103. And up in the far right column or corner, you can see we're at 3,053 members. Year to date, so this is 2 months into our fiscal year. If you look on the indirect overhead and the net cost, again, you can see the correlation. It's the same, the cost of those amenities. So over those 2 months, 2 months of assessments, golf costs each member $32, security $31, and you can see down the line, food and beverage after 2 months is $13.35, all the way down to stables, which is a positive number for stables. So member assessments for the first 2 months, $554,000, fees $54,335, and net surplus is $120,633 after 2 months. Capital expenditure, these are the projects that are completed. Shine Glass and Silver, the pool has been replastered, getting ready for the season. Robotic pool cleaner, pool chemical controllers, our telephone system and towers is completely installed now. And we did get our copier in this week, as a matter of fact. So that is operational and in use. Capital work in progress. You can see our West Circle is started. It's moving a little bit slower than we all would like, but at least we're seeing some movement. You'll see a lot more in the next 2 weeks as we begin to erect the trestle on the West Circle. Pro Shop and 19th hole designs, $10,000. Westover drainage, they'll be striping within about a week, and then that project will be complete. The front entrance road, you probably noticed there's some dirt there. That's AMUD moving a water line. When the water line is moved, we are going to extend the safety rail down about where they're, to the end of the area where they're digging. So we'll have that project completed after we install the guardrail, just extend it a little bit more. If you've been down to the marina lately, you can see that the marina dock has been started, so that is going rather quickly. The gate entry system we have ordered, so we have not received any of the hardware yet, but we're starting to give them data, and they're starting to load member data onto the gate access system. Soon they'll be here installing the hardware, and then we'll get the software installed, and then we'll have an education time period for both ourselves, frankly, and then the members for our new improved gate entry system. Community gardens, we do have the fence up, and so that project is started. We're going to soon have water to that area, and Jimmy De La Garza and his committee is working hard on that. Drainage animations, using our LiDAR data for 4 of our areas that are problem drainage areas in Pecan. The infrastructure committee is working on that and deciding which project should come first. Bunker liners, you'll soon see the sand being removed from the bunkers. That's the first step in that project. We're going to save the sand, and then you'll see the bunker liners going in after that. So the golf course will be experienced it'll be torn up for a little bit of time, but not too much. Skid steer, that'll be coming in soon, and the PAC gym lighting is being installed right now. If you haven't been down to the PAC, we went with a complete LED system using a rebate system through our utility provider, and that is going to save the association a lot of money. And go down and take a look at the gym. You'll see a great difference. Thanks to Keith. Keith found this Encore program where you can get up to 70% rebates if you go to LED lighting, and we expect about a 12-month return on investment. And so just a great project for only $8,500. We got every single light changed out in a gym and a complete pack for $8,500. And Mr. Treasurer, Mr. President, that ends my financial report for this month.
Back to the gym lighting. I had the opportunity to sit in on the staff meeting this morning, and I thought that we were going to go down beyond the gym to our other facilities. Is that correct? Or are we just going to stay with the PAC for the lighting?
We are going to look at other facilities. It's such a good deal. Encore has a certain amount that they have budgeted, so we are looking at our other facilities to see if we can justify the expense. But at least at the facility maintenance barn, it's only $1,300 for a complete changeover. Again, the ROI is less than a year, and we're having them look at all of our buildings throughout the whole association. And if we can justify the expense, which we think we can, we're going to try to jump on it while that program is still in place. They have earmarked $6.5 million for this project, and when the money is allocated out, the project will end. So we're going to try to get on top of that as soon as we can.
And as I understand it, once we get the LED lighting installed, then we're going to have more lights for less wattage, which means less power requirement, which means our ongoing, continuing electrical costs go down. So for an initial investment, we're going to save the organization a lot of money over the long run. Did I get that right? Perfect. Okay, there old business, and I think there is no old business. And for new business, we have one item for the nomination of President-elect. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. President, there's 2 board members missing, and I move that we delay the vote on the new president-elect.
So that would be a motion to table. Do we have a second?
Mr. President, I second that motion.
We have a motion to table the nomination for the president-elect. That is a motion that requires no discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? And so that motion will be carried over to the March 1st meeting. Okay. Item number 7, for the approval of the election committee for 2018.
Yes, I so move that we...
Roger, could you use the mic, please?
I so move that we approve the members of the 2018 election committee, please.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the members of the 2018 election committee. I know that's a long group, a lengthy group. You wish to read them all? That'd be fine.
I do not wish to read them all. But I do want to point out we have 66 members on this list. And I just want to thank you that those that volunteered, we really appreciate it because this is quite an endeavor that we're getting to undertake on the election and the ballot. And I just want to thank everyone. As I look at this list, it's amazing how many new people are on this list. So again, I thank everyone. I thank not only these that did this, but all the volunteers that serve on all our committees. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, we have a motion and a second to approve the members of the 2018 election committee. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. And next is the management report again, Mr. Bartholomew.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a few things this evening. Tomorrow night, very popular all-I-can-eat crab night, so make your reservations early. We do fill up every single night for this event. Coming up, don't forget, Valentine's Day is just around the corner. We have a dinner and dance this evening. Seating times begin at 5:30 with reservations required so that we know, obviously, how much to prepare. The menu will include an appetizer, super salad, and your choice of 3 entrees, a New York strip steak, red snapper, or stuffed Texas quail. Dessert, red velvet truffle brownie with a mixed berry panna cotta. So a great menu and entertainment by the Brady Halsley Band. So make your reservations for that. That's always a fun evening. Another popular night coming up, Prime Rib Night, coming up on February 23rd. Call early for reservations. Another extremely busy evening. As far as the election, the voting ballots have been mailed. You may have received them today. If not, you'll probably receive them in the next couple of days. You can either mail them or drop them in the 2 clubhouse ballot boxes in the lobby. Special thanks to Joe Hartman, our election committee chair, and the numerous volunteers who spent all day preparing the ballots for mailing. As was mentioned earlier, next town hall meeting on the ballot initiative will be right in this room, February 13th at 6 p.m. A couple of events, as Dr. Kamen mentioned, he will be speaking at the Breakfast Club on February 20 on the 14th. And on the 21st, the Breakfast Club will be hosting Meet the Candidates breakfast at 7:30, and the meeting starts at 8 o'clock in the terrace room. Save the dates for one of our special events, Pecan Plantation Women's Club, Boot Scooting on the Brazos. The Women's Club, the only purpose of their events is to raise money for charities, Christmas decorations, and also they supply a lot of the food and beverage items that you see, such as serving utensils. And so that's a great event. They have a list of charities throughout Hood County that they support. This is one of the major fundraisers of the year. Come for the silent auction and the live auction, and there'll be a great band for a country night of fun and festivities. Again, as Dr. Kamen mentioned, welcome Judith Bandy. We're hoping for big things. We know we will be having our graphic design be well taken care of from Judith. So welcome aboard, Judith. We're glad to have you. Ty Harper, just want to thank Ty Harper. He will be leaving Pecan to pursue another opportunity in mid-February. Thank you, Ty, for your 10 years of service. And on behalf of all the staff and residents, we appreciate all your hard work. Thank you very much. And Mr. President, that concludes my report for this month.
Thank you. And I would echo Michael's remarks about Ty Harper, and the board recognizes your hard work, and we wish you well. We know you have a good opportunity that you've been able to take advantage of, so good luck to you. I would mention to the candidates, if you were not told, Carl will be taping candidate presentations immediately after this meeting, and probably about give him 15 minutes to get his equipment set up, and it'll be downstairs in the bowels of this building. And I don't know if there'll be arrows on the wall to help you find that little room, but we'll be doing that immediately after this meeting. And there being no further business before the board, then I call this meeting adjourned.